Movies Rule, the worst movie podcast ever recorded. And today, the mayor is in session. And the shoe salesman himself, Mel Vandy, has closed the shop early and he's in the studio. And all the way from Omaha, Nebraska, for the first time in a long time, we got Brady Cox in the house. Woo! What's up, guys?
What's up?
Loving it.
Welcome in.
Finally, we picked an awesome movie.
Are you having a killer time?
Not yet. But ask me in a couple hours and we'll see. What's up, Brady? Welcome back, man.
Hey, it's good to actually be here for
right?
once. I think this is my first time in.
Well, I know you were supposed to be, I don't remember if it was COVID or what it was, but Ishtar was the last time you were supposed to be here. And even that was like 40-something episodes ago.
We also had another one scheduled that we never actually did.
Right. Gleaming the Cube.
No, it was...
Kiss,
can I
kiss,
say
bang,
it?
bang.
Kiss,
Oh,
kiss,
yeah.
bang,
Oh, that's
bang.
right. That's
Oh,
right.
yes.
That's right.
Yes.
It has not been done yet, but I remember watching it, and then, I got COVID like the next day.
That's right. So there have been a couple of misses, but you're here now in town. Welcome back to Wisconsin. And I got to talk about this. I don't know. Should we call you Napoleon for the rest of the day? Or you look almost...
Gosh, idiot.
Ryan Mueller is dressed up. For those of you that aren't watching the video version, he's got his Vote for Pedro shirt.
Pedro offers you his protection.
He's rocking a red afro today. And man, I know this was like your favorite movie of all time, but this is even above and beyond what I expected.
I told you I was going to have a little something special for you today.
I appreciate that. You get the glasses and everything.
Everything, man. Except the moon boots, but
Well, that's
viewers
all right.
aren't going to be able to see that.
They won't be
anyway.
able to see. We don't let them see what goes on under the table.
Which is good.
You don't want to see what goes on under the table here, especially when Mel's in the house.
I'm not wearing pants.
That's right. That's right. So, well, welcome in, guys. We're talking about, if you haven't figured it out by now, Napoleon Dynamite. And it's 2004. It's a movie that was voted on by our patrons to be an episode.
Blame them.
Blame them. It's also one that ever since Ryan Mueller became a part of the show, he said, this is the movie I want to do.
We have to do it.
It's his all-time favorite. So we put it out there. It doesn't qualify. We're just going to dive straight into the vitals here. It doesn't qualify by the traditional metrics. It's a 7 or a 6.9 on IMDb, practically a 7, 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 74% audience score. So none of the metrics, and it certainly made money.
It made a ton of money.
A ton of money. But I hated this movie when I saw it, and I said, this is a terrible movie. So yeah, we absolutely can do it on the show because it is bad. But that was a base off of one viewing that I had 15 years ago or whenever. I think I was also super grumpy when I watched it because everyone and their mother, if you guys remember when this came out, was like, you got to see Napoleon Dynamite.
Haven't you seen it yet?
And every time that happens, I like watch it begrudgingly.
Dude, Uncle Rico.
Yeah, and I'm like mad that I have to watch it, and so then I end up not liking it almost every time. Does that ever happen to you?
No.
Okay.
Actually, it does all the time. I want to bring up Harry Potter because
Perfect.
There's a perfect example of something that you refused to watch for years. Right. And then I made you watch it one day,
Right.
the first one, and then you ran out to the movie store to get the second one.
That's right.
And I think the third one had just come out.
The third one, and after that, major drop off. So by the time I got to like 5, I'm like, this isn't good anymore, and I stopped. I've never seen 6 or 7 and 7B or 7A or whatever because it just nose dove for me. But yes,
I would say that's probably like you stopped in the bad part. We're not here to talk about these movies.
we're not, but we are here to talk about when movies are so overhyped that you end up hate watching them, and that's what I do all the time. So I watched it again this week, afresh, 15 years later. I will say I am in a different place on this movie, but I don't know if I'm even close to the same place Ryan is. So we'll see as we go through this.
We'll see.
The movie was directed by Jared Hess, and it was written by Jared and Jerusha Hess. That's a hard name to say. Him and his wife. So the husband-wife duo wrote this together. Movie stars John Heder, Efren Ramirez, Aaron Ruel, John Grease, and Tina Majorino, making her second appearance on Bad Movies Rule.
He's back.
Can't forget Haley Duff.
Haley Duff.
Haley Duff.
Who's that?
Summer.
Oh, she's not worth
That's
reading in the
Hillary Duff's older sister.
Okay, I'm 6 people deep, and I'm still not going to say
Haley.
whatever.
You obviously
Haley.
didn't vote
I
for
wouldn't even
Summer.
put her at the 7th one.
I wouldn't vote for Summer. I don't. If she ran unopposed, I would vote for no one. I'm not shocked.
I'll tell you, Bob would vote for Summer.
All right, Bob would vote. You're right.
Yeah, Bob would.
Tina Maydrino was, of course, the little girl from Waterworld that had the tattoo on her back. That was the last time she was in a movie that was on our show.
Yes.
And the budget for this movie was $400,000.
It showed.
And I'm all for that. I'm like, more movies like this, please. That would be great.
Right.
Forces a little bit of creativity. The box office off of a $400,000. This is why studios need to do more of this. Your risk is so low, only so few people have to go see the movie in order for it to make money.
Right.
$46 million.
We'll take $400,000. Thank you.
Yeah, please.
right.
Thank you. Yeah. $46 million. And normally, that's not a lot of money. I mean, if a movie goes out now and does $46 million, you think that's a failure because the budgets are so high.
Right.
Right.
But if you don't spend anything on it, that's a fantastic day at the office.
And it didn't even start. It started in 6 theaters across the country.
Right.
It took 3-4 weeks before it was in 100 theaters.
And they're like, oh, people like this.
And it was word of mouth, too. That was there
Sadly,
was no advertisement, no nothing.
It's part of why I hated it.
Well,
Because of all the word of mouth. Dude, one day there was just no Napoleon Dynamite. Then the next day, it was like when Borat came out, right?
Llamas.
Gosh, all day, everywhere you went.
That is fair.
Napoleon, give me some of your tots.
No, get your own.
I don't care. What is this? It sounds like the dumbest thing ever.
Bow to your sensei.
Bow to your sensei. The only dumber thing, honestly, would be following our show. And so, if you haven't already, you can sign up for our email list at badmoviesrule.com. We send out monthly newsletters. We send out the list, which just grows every single month. All of the movies that we do our random poll each month for our episodes, you can see what's on there. You can watch some movies that are on there and get ready for when those episodes come about. That's how Napoleon came here. We randomly pulled it for a poll on Patreon, and here it is. That's, again, badmoviesrule.com. You can sign up there for that. If you'd like to become one of our wonderful patrons, we've got a great following on Patreon of lovely people that support the show, and we give them back by having all kinds of bonus content on there. They can vote like they did for this episode. I mean, they're the reason Napoleon Dynamite is happening here. Also, you can email the show at thisshowIstrash@gmail.com and send us suggestions for other movies. Tell us some stories. Tell us about the first time you heard of or saw Napoleon Dynamite. What did you think of the movie? We've got some patrons playing along with us. So again, patreon.com/badmoviesrule if you want to join up and be one of those members today. Otherwise, there's all kinds of ways you can get in touch with us via social media. We're very active on there as well. So all kinds of ways for you to interact with this very stupid show. And we're appreciative that you're here following along with us today. I can't even look at you. Every time I look over, I want to cry. But I'm happy that you're so into this. Are you going to do the voice the whole time too?
I don't know if I could do that. I'm probably not that good. I can do it here and there.
You imagine if
throw it
Napoleon
out.
Dynamite was a real person and he was on a podcast? That might be the most excruciating thing to listen to. It'd be funny for yeah, exactly. It'd be funny for 10 minutes.
Right.
And then be like, enough of this. Please kill me now.
Right. He wouldn't say a lot.
No.
That would be the problem. He would just well, it would have to be pretty sweet.
Right. And then half of what he said wouldn't be true, right? How he hunted wolverines with his uncle. What was that again?
Hey, I hunted wolverines in Alaska.
In Alaska. That's
Shotgun, of course.
Yeah, what kind of gun did you use?
Gauge.
A freaking 12 gauge. What do you think?
You know what, though? It's still better than 95% of the podcasts out there.
That's true. That's true. I don't think, side note, that if you're hunting wolverine, 12 gauge is the way to go.
Oh, effective.
There wouldn't be any wolverine left.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Are you hunting for sport, hunting for pleasure, hunting for food?
I think Napoleon hunts he wants to absorb their power and take it into himself and, learn Wolverine magic. I think that's what he wants to do.
Ah, yes, the Dahmer theory.
All right.
Welcome to Wisconsin.
Here's what I'm going to say before we dive into this movie, because I think the way this movie is built doesn't lend itself to our normal, how we go about. For those of you that are new to the show, we generally walk through the movie scene by scene as it unfolds. We tell the story. That way, if you haven't seen the movie, you can still follow along. We have our, mostly roasting, sometimes commentary on what is happening within the movie.
Sometimes.
And then we give it some awards at the end. Some good awards, some bad awards, and we ultimately decide if it's a good movie, a bad movie, or a bad movie that rules. But this is what I call an and then movie.
And then?
Right, exactly. Kind of like, dude, where's my car?
Right.
It's from a story structure, it's the opposite of what you want to do when you write a script. Each there's no through line. There's no story. It's just, and then he's here. And then they're in the kitchen. And then they're at the karate place.
You know why?
Then he's at the Future Farmers of America. And then, I don't have an and then button.
Oh. Well, so then you know why.
Oh, why?
No reason.
No reason.
Oh. See?
Oh.
Oh.
Now you got to play.
I'm not a mind reader, you guys.
No reason. No reason.
There you go. I'll just cut all that dead air out, and everyone will think we did it.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and do all that to say we're going to try and do what we normally do, but it's going to be a lot of and then. Each scene almost exists as its own like sketch. And
Series of skits. Yes.
Just like a series of skits, and like a Monty Python movie. And so some scenes are great, and they stand on their own, and they're hilarious, and some don't, and they don't really make a whole thing really. But we'll try and do what we can and just go scene by scene because I don't know what else to do.
I wouldn't know anything about making a movie like that.
No, look.
Say what, drunk guy?
We made a movie that no one will ever see that is basically a string of skits just like this.
Yes.
It's also the worst thing we've ever done. So I'm not saying that's a good thing necessarily.
Also a budget of $400.
But yeah, not 400,000.
No,
$400
total.
Yeah.
Few less zeros.
Right. Some of the jokes still hold up, though.
Tarantino made he talked about this when talking about Jackie Brown, and good Lord, I'm not comparing Jackie Brown
To the next level.
to Napoleon Dynamite, okay? I think this is what he called a hangout movie, in that while it doesn't seem like there's a lot happening, the purpose of those types of movies are that you just spend 90 minutes hanging out with these characters.
Yeah.
And I still don't like it, personally, that type of film. But that's basically what this is. All right. We'll start off with the opening credits, which were actually very creatively done as a series of food dishes with people's names written in ketchup and mustard and things like that.
Kind of long, though.
Well, opening credits are kind of dead anyway. Like people don't do them
Seem
anymore.
kind of long.
Almost 4 minutes.
And apparently each of those meals are consumed at some point in the movie as they're displayed.
That's correct.
Right? So
And
cool.
those school supplies too, pencils, erasers,
things like that.
Yep.
The message I got from that whole situation is this is what you're walking into. These people are very unpretentious. They're very much school lunch people.
Yes. No. And the whole thing is very, it's all very realistically done,
That's deep.
right?
No, that sums it all up right there.
I think that's part of the charm of the movie. Is
Yes.
that
Right.
it's very realistic.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're
Salt of the earth.
salt of the earth people. Thank you. That's kind of what I was looking for, right?
Very relatable.
They are. First thing we get is we get introduced to Napoleon Dynamite, and what do we see? He's got the trapper keeper.
Trapper keeper's
He's got the freaking moon boots on
Yeah.
t-shirt tucked into his pants.
in his front yard, and we're watching it with our wives. Ryan and I watched together with our wives. And I don't remember what one of them was like, there's not even any snow or anything on the ground. Why are you wearing moon boots? I'm like, I'm sorry, you grew up rich. I mean, we had to
Idaho
wear
and,
like whatever you got, right? Like that's
That's what you want?
it.
Duh.
Gosh.
The movie it takes place in 2004, but it looks like it's in the 1980s.
It does.
But I think
That's just Idaho, though.
that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
That's what we
Yeah.
said. It was just kind of rural Idaho.
There's just parts of the country that are 15 years behind
Yes.
everything else, but that's how it was. Man, even in the 80s and 90s, the inside of my house still looked like it was 1987 for the most
paneling
part.
and-
The paneling and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grandparents' house looked like it was still in 1974.
Right.
Yeah.
The
Right.
plastic on the floral couch.
Yep.
The Davenport.
The
A
Davenport.
lot of it has come back in fashion at this point.
Right.
Right.
But it's not like they were trying to, or they screwed anything up by having it look like the 80s.
No.
Even though it looked like it was 2004. Not at all. Also, I don't know how they do things in Idaho, but there's a couple things that, like one thing we like to do is point out things that don't really make sense or unrealistic. And there's obviously not a lot in this movie because it was super realistic. But the first scene we see Napoleon get on the bus, and I don't know how they do things in Idaho, but where we came from, the coolest people sat in the back of the bus. And when you got on and the whole thing was full, there definitely wasn't an open seat all the way in the back.
Right.
Right.
And Napoleon sure as hell wouldn't have been allowed to sit in the back seat of the bus.
See, it was like little kids. It was like mixed.
Fifth graders.
Right. It was fifth graders and middle schoolers. And Napoleon, being the high schooler, probably Was the coolest kid on that bus.
But even the fifth grader that sat across from him thought he was a loser.
No.
He wrapped up this wrestling figure and he put it out the window, and that kid just stared at him like he was a moron.
But he's like, what are you going to do today?
What are you going to do today, Napoleon?
He was looking forward to it.
In so much as you ask the weird kid what he's going to do because you want to laugh at the thing he's going to say.
Well, you just want to know if he's going to start shooting. You got to watch yourself.
What are you trying to? You
This
think
is a different time.
You think Napoleon is a school shooter?
I think Napoleon's somebody you don't screw around with.
Listen, when he tried to karate fight his brother, the only thing he could do is like smack him in the back of the
Yeah,
head.
but he had at least one lesson of Rex Kwon Do.
not even witnessing Rex block 2 kicks and smack his brother in the face.
It's effective.
It's not learning Rex Kwon Do. All right, what else did we learn about Napoleon in the first few minutes? He loves tetherball.
He loves tetherball.
Yeah.
Tetherball champion.
I could watch Napoleon play tetherball all day.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to play him.
Entertaining.
Nobody wanted to play him.
No, and he would.
They were going to lose. They knew they were going to lose their money.
He'd run up and do that like backwards kick and get the thing going.
The ninja kick.
It was awesome. All right, so Napoleon wants to come home. It's the first day of school, and we see him. He wants to come home because somebody laughed at him during his speech. What was he giving a speech on? Loch Ness?
Yeah, so he gave a speech or a report on the Japanese scientists threw a bunch of grenades or something in the bottom of
Lake Loch Ness.
Lake Loch Ness to blow Nessie out.
Yep.
Yep.
But there was some kind of spell of protection that was cast on the
Yes,
lake.
Yeah,
there was a
right,
spell
the
of
local
protection
wizards.
cast by local wizards.
Yeah.
Right.
Got to protect Nessie at all costs.
As soon as somebody giggles, he is totally upset. And then the next thing he goes down to the nurse to try and call home
Calls home.
to get taken home from his job. And this is the first time we see Kip, which is his I want to say his little brother because he's physically his little brother.
Kip
Yeah.
is little. Kip's a little
His
guy.
wiser older brother.
Yes.
But he's
older brother.
36 years old.
I said like
how old-
32.
said,
32.
But is that real?
As the actor was like 28.
I can never tell if Kip is lying, is what I'm saying. Like, who
No,
said
Was he really 32? I don't know. Well, Napoleon said you're like 32.
Oh, Napoleon said that.
Well, and doesn't Uncle Rico at one point point out that he's,
Can you move that closer?
whatever, move what?
Move either yourself or the mic closer to you. Thanks. One more time. Say that again.
Uncle Rico at one point brings up his age as well. I'm pretty
that's
sure.
right.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Well, let me just ask this now, even though we're not quite there yet, because I don't understand the whole family dynamic. Grandma gets hurt while she's out
At the dunes.
at the dunes with her
dunes.
4-wheelers or whatever.
And her boyfriend.
Broke her cocks. And Uncle Rico has to come stay and take care of them. But this Kip is not in school anymore. He's, from
No,
all accounts,
Kip's-
a grown-ass man.
Kip is
Right.
a grown ass man.
Why does Uncle Rico have to come stay there?
Look at him.
Right.
Because Kip's like a 15-year-old grown ass man. That's why.
Right. Like Napoleon brings this up, and then there was this kind of like wave off of like, and they look at Kip, and he just kind of goes,
Right.
Kip's
like, whatever.
too busy chatting with hot babes online all day.
Kip definitely looks like he has to register. Just saying.
The first thing we see, I was actually Team Kip for like 1 minute before, because the first thing he says, I agree with him. When he asked Kip to come get him from school, and he's like, I'm really busy, and all he's doing is pouring cheese on nachos.
Cheese on his.
I'm like, I respect that. If I'm in the middle of something like that, I would have said the same thing. I'm like, I'm kind of busy right now. I'm trained to become a cage fighter. That's right. But he ultimately, well, how does he get home? I don't remember.
he just I think he just
Napoleon?
waits for the end
He
of
just
the day.
yeah. He
Oh,
just
he
waits
waits
for the
for
end
the-
of the
he
day.
doesn't actually get home.
No, he
Okay,
doesn't
that's
actually
right.
get home.
The scene triggered me because I don't know if you guys ever had this happen.
Your lips are dry?
No, that's right. I want to just come home because my lips are super dry. It triggered me because I've had my own children call from the nurse's office trying to come home for the stupidest reasons.
Right.
Okay. Does that ever happen with you?
Oh, it has.
Okay. What are some of the reasons your kids have tried to call home?
My daughter had a black eye.
Okay.
That was it.
That was pretty
All right.
stupid.
That's a good story.
Pretty good reason to come home.
No,
about you?
my kids never.
Never?
No,
They just knew better?
they did.
Okay, so I'm gonna put. My daughter's gonna be so mad at me. Grace used to be the biggest culprit. She would call from the nurses. We're talking about like middle school, maybe 5th grade, 6th grade, right? And it'd be the same thing, like my face hurts, or I don't like I've got a headache, like it just started 2 minutes ago. Whatever dumb reason. And for a while, we would get her or whatever.
Yeah.
I finally came around. I was like, look, unless you're bleeding out of your eyeballs, I do not want another phone call from the nurse's office because this has got to stop. It was like the middle of work all the time. And so when Napoleon's calling, he's like, my lips hurt. I'm just like, I was Team Kip for like 1 minute.
Go to the school nurse and get some chapstick.
Well, she doesn't know anything.
She's got 5 in her desk.
I'm like, those are gross.
Gosh.
I don't blame Napoleon for that.
What, community chapstick?
You don't want to
Community
use
chapstick.
the community stick? Come on, man.
I mean, with you guys, it's one thing, but
You go to the nurse office. Can I get the chapstick?
Yes. COVID has changed a lot of people. They'll never understand.
Yeah, right.
You can't do that anymore.
No, you just don't do that.
Just don't do it, man. Napoleon finally gets a friend because this kid, Pedro, comes to school and bonds with him. Well, they bond basically over his bike, right? And he's like got this sweet bike. He's like, you got shocks and pegs?
Yeah.
Lucky?
Loaded.
You ever take it off any sweet jumps?
That's right. A lot of this I just started relating to my own childhood because, right? Like the next cut is they got like a piece of plywood over a brick.
on some bricks. Yeah.
Right? Yep.
And Pedro goes over it barely.
Built one of those.
You got like 4 feet.
You got 4 feet of air.
Right? He
Let me
goes
try
over
really
it
quick.
and just that has happened to me so many times.
the whole ramp falls apart.
That the whole ramp falls apart, dude. He just eats it. And the best part of John Heater's performance is his
Junk to the handlebars.
natural, like these natural moments of like whether he's getting hit in the face with a stake or biffing it off of a bike jump or whatever. He's just very realistic and natural with how he does it. It's very,
The
very
awkwardness.
good. Yeah, for sure. They used to go ahead.
I was going to say, this pretty much reminds me of my moving into town in 6th grade.
How so?
Well, I had a sweet bike.
Okay.
I hadn't taken it over any sweet jumps.
Is this how we met?
No, but
Oh,
Eventually.
I don't remember it at all. Yeah, because of your sweet bike.
no.
Now, not too far from your house, there used to be the Dead Man's Trails.
Yep.
Right? Back of Oakwood Knolls.
Oh, yeah.
Jumps back.
And there were some sweet jumps,
were sweet jumps back there.
And so I immediately started thinking of this because I would fall every time. There'd be the kids, you'd go there and be like, these kids are wailing these jumps.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whoever
yeah.
some of these guys were.
Kids
right?
with the pegs. And
With the pegs
Yep.
and the
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh. So you're like, I'm doing it, man. I'm gonna jump on my Huffy and ride the thing. And I would always eat it. Mm-hmm. And so I related so hard to this scene
We
with
did
Napoleon.
that. I grew up by a park, and it was an old landfill, so it was like sledding hills and everything. But in the summer, there was this one part of the hill where there was a cap to the sewer that came out of it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
We'd just jump off of that on our bikes in the summer. I never ate it, though.
No?
Always made it.
Were you one of those kids with pegs?
I did not have any pegs.
All right.
I had a Huffy just like you. I wasn't rich enough for the BMX
I had
with the pegs.
non-branded. I don't know what it was. I remember at one point I
Just said bike on it.
I had it for years, and I went off a jump at one point, and that's when one of the welds came loose, and that was the end of that bike.
That was the end of bike. Not that part. That's what it was.
True.
I had the one with a sticker on it that said BMX, but that wasn't like a brand or anything.
Somebody just put that on there.
But
Aftermarket.
Anyone can just put a BMX sticker on a bike.
there was a guy that stole my bike.
What?
You'd know the name.
Okay, what's his name?
I'm not throwing it on
Oh,
here.
screw that guy. He stole your bike. What are you trying to protect him for?
Matt Booth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He took your bike?
He took my bike. I got it right back, but
Screw that kid.
It's like the second day in a row I've had a conversation about Matt Booth.
really?
2 days in a row. Wow. I don't know.
That one's cut. Nobody's listening to that. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
All right, so Napoleon goes home. None of these have to do with each other. You've already noticed we're 5 scenes in, and it's just like, and then he just does this, which is horrible story structure. Horrible. I know we've talked about it at least twice before.
You kept watching.
But go find, because I had to. The one time I watched it for fun, I didn't want to finish it. Like it was like getting my teeth pulled.
I wonder how he sold this script, because think about reading this as a screenplay, how boring it would have been.
Right.
Because you don't get the whole like, "Duh," or like anything quotable from it.
It's all performance,
Right.
which happens on camera.
How do you
Right.
sell this script?
On the paper, it's nothing.
Yes.
You're right.
No, the first time I watched it, I was like, what is this? And then my brother told me, you got to watch it again.
The way they sold it is there was a short film version. So he made a black and white. I don't remember how long it was. It was not very long at all. Okay. And it was years before. And it's the scene where he's got the guy hanging out the bus, you know, pulling the thing. And I had probably a couple other things that happened. Yeah. But it was that short that then somebody saw and goes, this is hilarious. We got to make a full-length movie. So they saw the on-screen performance.
Okay, so and then the South Park situation.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And so then it didn't, but right, if it had just been the script, it never would have been sold. Never, ever. All right, so Napoleon fights with his brother. They smack each other around. Here's my favorite. I'm not joking when I say this. My favorite thing, the thing I thought about most today, the day after I watched the movie, is every time, which I think only happens twice, that Napoleon tries to feed this llama.
Tina, come get your dinner, you fat lard.
This, I don't know, can't even tell you why it's funny. But just him coming out there with this stupid casserole, and he's got
casserole.
the scooper, and he's like, "Eat, Tina." He's like throwing this food.
Like Tina does the same thing we do when casseroles are thrown at us. It's just what it is.
And I think it's because he's so frustrated. He doesn't want to be doing it.
No,
he's like, "Come on, eat!" And then he tries to feed the thing ham later on in the movie.
I just made a casserole for dinner,
and those things are herbivores,
right?
Right.
It's not going to eat ham.
No, it's not going to eat casserole either.
He's like, I got some ham for you.
Tina, ham.
Tina, come get some ham. So stupid. I loved it. That was. What does that say about the movie that this is my big takeaway?
See, I still use that at home.
Do you really? Kristen, come get some ham.
Doesn't have to be Easter. No. Use that one all year long.
All year round.
So this girl Deb, who is Tina Majorino.
Full side hair.
She's, again, talking about
pony.
The 80s thing.
Yeah.
She's rocking the side pony. They're a little bit behind. Shows up at the door, and she's selling friendship bracelets.
Yep.
What else?
Glamour shots.
Glamour shots. That's
Keychains.
Right. Keychains.
Alternators to 72 Pintos.
That's right. She's trying to raise money to go to college.
Your mom goes to college.
I had remembered that joke because that's my own kid, Grace, was shocked when she heard this joke because that's been her thing for like the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Like just adding your mom to whatever, like anything. And I'm like, that came from somewhere. She adds it on here, right?
Makes me feel special.
Okay. And
you were rocking that in 92.
I know. Brady been doing it forever. I remembered. I thought it was Napoleon, so it really messed my brain up when I went back and watched it.
Yeah.
And it's Kip from inside the house.
Your mom goes to college.
Your mom goes to college. And she just gets pissed and leaves all her stuff there and takes off.
But then, I mean, that's just further proof that this movie is like they're 15, 20 years behind because that was the big rip when, we were growing up. It's your mom does whatever, right?
Right.
Okay. Another thing about this scene, can I get trope alert?
Yeah.
The world will not show up at your doorstep.
You're living in the wrong neighborhood then.
Right? So, like, if that's ever a plot point in a movie, I note it. Like,
right.
Oh, geez, this is unrealistic.
Come to your house.
Right.
Yes.
Like, oh, this girl, you're like, there's nothing.
People never came to your house back then in the 80s.
People do, but like, it's just like, it's just like you're a single dude and you got nothing going on, and like
the girl shows up.
Right.
In that case, you're right.
Yeah.
The girl that is ultimately going to make the connection with him,
right,
just shows up at his house.
Shows up.
Right.
For a while, I had a lot of Spanish-speaking Jehovah's Witnesses.
Did you?
See,
how'd that go?
Not well.
They want to talk to you about Jesus?
They wanted to talk to me about Jesus. I did not invite them in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just saying.
You didn't take the literature, did you?
No.
Okay, well that's a good move. Don't take the literature.
And then we're randomly at Rex Kwon Do's.
Yes.
Gotta learn how to fight.
From Dietrich
from the
Bader.
commercial, though.
Well, the commercial.
Yeah.
That's right.
At local access TV commercial where at the end it pauses and his hand is just...
That's right.
It's the best.
And we go there to the extra shot because Kip, he asks Napoleon to pull him into town on his rollerblades with his bicycle. And so you get that funny shot of him literally, because he doesn't have sweet pegs for him to ride on the back of. He gets pulled.
Then they go green.
Who does?
They do.
Oh, that's why they did that.
Yeah.
Because they're environmentally conscious.
Right. It's Idaho.
Yeah, that's right.
They were Idaho woke.
That's right. They were worried about the potatoes.
Yeah.
They get to Rex Kwon Do, and we get this scene of Dietrich Bader, who I think is vastly underused in this movie.
Oh,
he
absolutely.
absolutely was.
Basically,
Yes.
well, he's got the commercial and one scene. I know he comes in at the end for like a second.
Yep.
But then you don't even see what happens there. Like, man, if you're able with a $400,000 budget and a bunch of unknowns to get Dietrich Bader to be in your movie,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
make the part bigger,
Definitely.
right?
Oh, yeah.
He
No,
was
something
amazing,
else for
though.
him
that
to
was
do.
the one thing.
No, he
Yeah.
was great. My only beef is that like they barely used him.
I would have wanted more Dietrich Bader.
I thought there was going to be more. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a major part in this movie.
Right. His pants shouldn't be like most of the joke.
Almost all of it.
roundhouse kick to the face while I'm wearing these bad boys.
That's right. Most of the joke came from that he was wearing Zumbas. Again, we're in the 80s, 90s. Zumbas is 90s.
Yeah.
But we're behind the times,
I miss
regardless.
those were fun.
But I'll tell you this. Kip said it was a ripoff as they're driving home.
$300
$300 for an 8-week course, and you learn how to kick some ass afterward. That's a pretty damn good deal.
I mean, maybe negotiating him throwing that sweet pair of pants, but
I'm thinking you could at least get him down a little bit. I think he probably could use the cash.
I mean, you'd have a chance with Starla at that point.
All right, that's his wife, right?
Foreshadowing, though.
All
Not
right.
Starla, but like with the whole Uncle Rico, like having all these scams all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they recognized it for what it was. It wasn't a real.
He's an
real
entrepreneur.
class.
I don't know. See, I couldn't figure out if he could actually fight or not because Kip wasn't really giving him a whole lot to work with.
True.
Right? Because at the end, he does beat the crap out of a grown man. So
Allegedly.
allegedly. Right? Maybe it was Starla. We don't know because they cut away from what would have been one of the best scenes in the whole movie. The Tremors 2 just did this also.
Yeah, they
Why
did.
are we cutting away
Why cut
from
away
the
from the
best
best?
scene in the film?
Yep.
Everyone wants to see Uncle Rico get his butt kicked.
yeah,
Burt
let
Gummer
everybody
was in
wanted
that
to
fight.
see.
What's that?
Burt Gummer was in that fight.
Let your imagination run wild.
But it doesn't. It's a movie. I want to see it. I'm not reading a book.
Oh, see, my imagination, that was a beautiful fight.
Oh, okay. Well, in your headcanon, in your magical movie that I don't get to see, I can't enjoy that. I want to actually
that's your
see
fault.
the film. I want to see it. Show it. Show me. Show me.
I wanted to see some Rex Kwon Do on Uncle Rico's ass. Just
Right? Because so
Break the wrist, walk away.
I'm gonna ask the question, and I don't mean this to ask it in any way other than I really just couldn't figure it out and want to know. Is Starla a woman? I can't tell.
Yes.
Is she?
Yes. She's just literally, she's actually a famous like
American
lifter.
Gladiator.
Is that the girl
or
from
something.
Eliminators?
I forget.
Or what? She was in Armed and Dangerous. Is it the same girl?
no, not the same.
Okay.
I went to look it up, but ADHD got me. And I
Got you.
forgot.
Okay.
I-
Regardless,
there.
Uncle Rico is in his house doing his door-to-door sales thing with her. Rex Kwon Do, it's the only other scene he's in, walks in, sees him with 2 pans over her chest because he's trying to sell this
Says
breast
bust
augmentation. Bust must. And then it cuts right as and you just hear some, pans and things, going crazy. And his arm's in a sling, the cartoon noises. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
His arm's in a sling the next day. And that's it. Come on, man. Super lame. Hey, remember when that random cow got shot in the face?
With the school bus right in front of it.
Bus pulls up.
Because that's just the next thing that happens in
Right.
this stupid movie.
Well, they needed steak. Grandma said.
It's a
Lyle's
dairy
coming
cow.
over.
Yeah, Lyle's going to take care of
Gonna
it.
take care of it.
It's a dairy cow.
So,
Yeah.
dairy cow's tasty.
Once they're at the end of their life, they get ground beef.
They stop producing milk, stop producing calves. Guess what?
So I'm
They
kind of
become
jumping the
steak.
gun here, but they
Yeah.
needed Arnold to show up and punch it in the face.
That's a great use of Arnold for this.
Right.
Well, they could have. They got Dietrich Bader.
Apparently, that actually happened to Jared Hess, the director. So that he put that in the movie. It was an anecdote from his life. A cow getting shot in front of the school bus while he was on the school bus. So as ridiculous and out of nowhere as that seems, that was a real thing that happened. How are you going to shoot a cow in the face right in front of a school bus full of children?
I don't think they intended for the school bus to be there. It just kind of rolled
Right.
up.
Right.
Well, it's not, I mean,
Timing
the
just
roads,
happened.
you can see these buses, I'm assuming, coming for miles.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Idaho is.
So you look around, you give it the old left, right before you shoot the cow in the face.
Well, to his credit, though, Lyle's a little shaky. I mean, he was having a hard time cocking that our hammer back.
That kind of ancient, hadn't been cleaned in years.
He had like a Revolutionary War musket he was trying to shoot this cow with. He couldn't just rack his shotgun.
All right, there's the two minor plots. It doesn't even have an overarching. There is no arc to it. But the two minor things that you could kind of say are a plot in this movie. The first one is them trying to get these girls to go to the dance with them, right? Pedro shows up. He wants to get Summer to go with him. And then Napoleon's trying to get somebody else to go. And then they have the dance. The other through line you could kind of say is Tina, not Tina, that's her real name, Deb and Napoleon, right? Maybe trying to kind of come together.
And Uncle Rico's comeback.
What comeback? There is no comeback. He's the same person at the end that he was at the beginning. There's no
he's trying
arc.
to get to the league.
He's trying.
There's
trying
no
to get
arc.
to the league.
I think Kip
What did he
was the
learn?
only one that had an arc.
That's Kip, maybe.
Like
Kip was successful.
Kip did have an arc.
That's about it. All right, so that random cow gets shot. Now, Pedro wants to ask Summer to the prom. Now, Summer, what was her name? Duff's older sister. What was her first name?
Haley Duff.
All right, Haley Duff. This was the first time I noticed this. We got Don, the boyfriend, and
Right.
Haley Duff playing Summer in the hallway.
Yep.
And I'm just like, how old are these people? Don looked like he was 36 years old.
Yeah, he did.
Haley did not look like she was a high schooler. She looked like
But
she was
she's-
early or late 20s.
She's the same age as
best.
Tina Margarino. I looked it up.
She was not 19 when they made that movie.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
was born in 85.
She looked terrible then.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
She did look older. Like, and Tina
Don
Margarino did. Don was like 31.
Don was 31. Pedro was
Pedro
31.
was 31.
John Heater was 27 years old. The only legit, well, I guess Haley, but she definitely didn't
But she
look
didn't look it.
But Tina Margarino, Deb, was 19, was the only legitimate looking teenager. And I'll never understand with these movies, why did they always do this? Just hire some teenagers.
You could have.
It looks ridiculous. It takes you straight out of the movie.
How can a teenager play a teenager? They have no experience.
They have lots of experience.
Oh, so they're method actors.
I guess, and this isn't something we're going to be able to answer here on the show, but I know in recent days that they don't do that as much. It was more like an 80s and 90s thing.
props to the casting director for Don. They found the guy with the most punchable face.
Yes, they did.
But he looked like he had crow's feet.
True.
Well, he did. He didn't look like it. He did have crow's feet.
There's teenagers out there. I don't know if they thought they couldn't act or what, but they can. There's good teenage actors, and nowadays they're more likely to hire people. Even if you hire a 22-year-old, they're passable,
Right.
unless they look like
Like
they've been
Haley
through the
Duff.
ringer like Haley Duff has been.
But think about this.
She probably smokes meth in her trailer before rough scene.
Had a rough
Elizabeth
life.
Berkley was like 42 on Saved by the Bell.
I don't know if that's.
So, I mean, come on.
She might, but again, ridiculous. Zach Morris, by the time Saved by the Bell was over, looked like he was a grandfather.
He was.
He was.
Could have
Can't
been.
back that up.
All right, so Pedro wants to ask Summer to the prom, and Napoleon's girlfriend, who's a model, lives in Oklahoma. Unfortunately, couldn't make
it.
trip
Couldn't
up,
make it.
which really sucks.
That'll happen.
for him. You know, that's always a bummer.
Not gonna make the trip.
For us, it was always I have a girlfriend in Canada, not Oklahoma.
Yep.
That's probably because we live north,
Yeah.
True.
right? And he's in Idaho. If you had a Canadian girlfriend, people like, oh, well, she can just drive.
Well, yeah.
She was
you
on the
just come
Canadian side of
whenever.
Niagara.
Right. Yeah.
So they got to go the other way and say it's Texas, Oklahoma,
Yep.
something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But she definitely existed.
He had the picture to prove it.
Right. And so they're sitting in the lunchroom, and he's like, what about that other girl? Deb, right?
Yeah.
Does he dare me to talk to her?
Yeah.
It goes over.
It's like, sure.
The best pickup line I've heard in a long time.
This one, use it, fellas. Use it.
Yep.
Guys, it works, man.
It works.
He says, are you drinking 1% milk because you think you're fat? Because you're not. You could drink whole if you want to.
That's a winner every day.
Every day.
Yeah. It's really more about the timing and the pauses.
I mean, it's like, oh, you drinking light beer because you think you're fat?
Because you're not.
You're not. You could drink full calorie beer.
Just relate it to whatever scenario
Right.
that you're in. You're not in the lunchroom, make it what you want.
Are you drinking low fat and sure? Because you could drink all of it.
Are you eating lean
so
cuisine because you
stupid.
think you're fat?
Be the dumbest joke that we've ever done on this show.
You could totally eat a full
yes.
calorie Stouffer's.
Nursing home humor,
man. Stouffer's.
All right. Is that low-fat Dannon yogurt?
Why do people listen to this dumb show?
I don't know.
Just swim in a vat of dairy milk.
We're trying to pull blood from a stone here today, Mel. We're trying to pull blood from a stone. All right. As we said, Grandma broke her cock, so Uncle Rico makes his
Uncle Rico
entrance
rolls in.
into the movie.
Big
And the
orange
first
van.
thing- does he live in a field?
Yes.
I mean,
Apparently.
Yeah.
Because when he goes back, he's in the same field.
It's in the same field.
He lives out of his van.
Yeah.
He's got
Down
his
by the river.
He's got his
Not down by the
clothesline.
river.
Oh, they don't have rivers in Idaho.
oh, true.
He's in the potato field.
I don't know. I've never.
Okay. He's got a clothesline. He's got his stuff, his van door open, and it looks like he just lives in this field.
He's doing his TikTok videos of him throwing.
He lives in the Windows home screen.
Yes,
It's like right in the middle.
he does.
Right.
That would be the best home screen. Why don't I have that as a home
Add
screen?
the little van.
Just
in
add
there.
the little van in
Want
there.
to see more of this?
Coach would put me in.
He's videoing himself chucking a football. I love that. I'm
The
not giving John
awesomest
Grease a hard
throwing
time. The guy that,
Motion ever.
yeah, has he ever thrown a football, this actor, in his life? Sports movies have a way of outing people that aren't actually athletes,
Yeah.
actors. And I'm like, no one's ever thrown a football like that. And this dude's like, it works for his character because he's kind of full of crap
Yep.
anyway.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
why Coach didn't put him in.
could
in
be.
82.
Yeah.
But
He'd have made a hell of a dart player, though, the way he's throwing that football.
who's he making these videos for? Does he just like sit at home and just watch videos of himself throwing the football around?
You don't?
Like he just lights a candle and has a beer
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
he just watches this on repeat and thinks about how, man, I bet I could chuck it a quarter mile and throw it right over them dang mountains. How much you want to bet?
I bet you I throw a football clear over the mountains.
I got to delete a few things here.
What do you make? Do you just video yourself selling shoes and then you go home and watch it?
No, it's,
Well,
it's
I talk-
basketball shots instead.
I
But
talked this guy into a size 11. Kip tells Rico about his AOL chat girlfriend. This is another thing
It's getting pretty serious.
that brought me back to my childhood. Well, not really childhood. When was the AOL chat room a thing, Brady?
In the mid
It
90s.
was like mid 90s. Yeah, like before we got the actual internet.
Okay.
96 to probably 2001.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever spend a lot of time on them AOL chat
Oh, yeah.
rooms?
Who
Yep.
hasn't?
Right?
ASL.
Yeah. Because every time he brings this up, and what is he talking about? Paying by the minutes, right? This has made me think of
Yeah.
AOL chat room. He's like, does it cost money when you're on there chatting with these girls? They put, well, yeah, because grandma won't stop paying by the minute or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, she gets kind of pissed sometimes.
Because I'm on there 3-4 hours a night talking to this girl that I thought for sure he was being catfished. For sure.
I mean, could he have been anyway?
This was a dude.
I mean, who's to say it wasn't?
I know when Laquan got off the bus, I wasn't sure. I was like, Laquan, I'm going to need you to lift your chin up for a second there.
LaFonda.
LaFonda.
Whatever. And I was just like, I can't tell.
It's
The shoulders look normal. I can't tell.
very female figure.
But no, he turns out after you see her in the next scene,
Yep.
which I think in the kitchen with Napoleon,
Yep.
was the next time he's like, okay, no, that's definitely a woman. But I thought for sure he was getting scammed, or he was going to have, LaFonda was going to have him send her money or something, and Kip, and that was going to be the plot line, right? That Kip
Right.
was going to make all this money with the selling Tupperware door to door,
Yep.
and then send all that money. Well, I was trying to think for a second of what
Then get
town.
scammed
What
out?
town was she? Where is she
Detroit.
from? Detroit.
Detroit, right.
That's what I couldn't pull out of my head.
From Detroit.
Was going to send all
Send
that
her
money to Detroit,
fly her out.
right?
Yeah. And she didn't come.
She wasn't going to show up. So when she got off the bus, I was shocked. Shocked.
That was a plot to a movie, wasn't it? Like Sex Drive or something, where he gets like catfished.
Who's that? No, I haven't seen that.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, I think it's on the list, or maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm thinking of another movie.
Another list.
All right, so Uncle Rico spends some time, and Kip and him seem to connect. He tells him about how he could throw it a quarter mile, chuck it over the mountains. And he has this, I think, a real moment where he talks about, you ever dream about being able to go back in time?
Yep.
Right? And you could use what you know now and use it then, and man, how everything would be different. And it's clear there's like a one of the few moments in the movie where there's some real pathos, where it's like, okay, it's obvious that he feels like he lost the opportunity to be something.
Yep.
He would have gone pro.
Yeah, coach would have put me in 82. We would have won.
And whether or not that's really what would have happened, he feels like he's lost the opportunity to be something.
Right.
And so he's reliving the past, or wants to go and relive the past.
Don't you take that from him.
No, I'm sure. I mean,
Let Rico keep dreaming, man.
I thought he was full of crap, but he nailed Napoleon on a dead run.
He did
with that steak right in his face.
He didn't even take his own steak. He takes Kip's steak,
Which is
sidearm flings it right into Napoleon's face.
And Kip doesn't even care.
Did you notice that those steaks were like microwaved?
Yes,
right.
They were gray with no grill lines, no searing. They were microwaved.
It was gross.
Terrible.
There's a thing about food in this movie, though, Mel.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
he's like, "What are we gonna eat?" And she's like,
Make yourself a goddamn quesadilla.
That's right.
Quesadilla, Napoleon.
"Right, I'll get some more steaks, or Lyle will take care of the
Lyle's coming to
steak."
go over-
So it's just
yeah.
like all he wants to eat is steak.
It's all they
I
need
mean,
is steak.
I don't blame him.
Steak, tots, and quesadillas.
Yeah,
Quesadillas.
That's right.
Quesadillas.
Casserole.
Baltina's eating the casserole,
Yeah.
or not eating them, I should say. But and ham. There's ham.
Yeah.
We're back at the school, and Napoleon's trying to get a date, and Pedro's trying to talk him up, talk him through it, and he's like, "I don't have any great skills. And girls only want guys that have great skills, right?" And so, what does he ultimately come up with? Drawing a picture for this girl.
He
He wants
goes to the
Draw a
yearbook.
picture.
Trisha
Draws a picture of Trish Stevens.
of Trish Stevens. I think he's got lots. He talked about. He's like, I don't have any like nunchuck skills, but
Nunchuck
earlier
skills.
he said to Deb he needed to
Pretty
get
good
her
with the bow staff.
I got to get her crap out of my locker because there's room for my nunchucks or
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
Also, don't think you're allowed to have nunchucks at school. Maybe in 2004 you could have, but definitely
Maybe.
not anymore.
No.
No, for sure.
Remember those nunchucks I made with kindling?
Bow staff.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. When we were playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Dude, I forgot all about that.
I'm sorry I brought that up.
No, it's funny.
Now the world will know.
It's funny.
I
It's
was
all good.
Michelangelo.
Bow staffs, maybe. Those are, you could pass that off as a walking stick. Nunchucks,
All right, so if you're building Napoleon Dynamite's Tinder profile, what would you put on there?
Liger's his favorite animal
Liger's his favorite animal.
because they're bred for their magic.
He's cracked at tetherball. Right? He'd say cracked at tetherball.
Wolverine hunting.
Wolverine hunter.
Yes.
I want to shade your upper lip.
Yeah.
Loves tots.
Perfect shading on the upper lip. Took me like 3 hours.
Bow staff skills. He'd have that on there, right? He'll draw you a sweet picture.
Draw a sweet
Good with
picture.
animals.
Good with
animals.
animals. Hit me up. That's what it would say.
Pretty much.
Right?
HMU.
HMU. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine the girls that would swipe right on Napoleon Dynamite?
Uncle constantly ruining his life.
Dude, that's besides him feeding Tina, my other favorite thing about this movie is every time his beef with Uncle Rico, like whenever they would fight and Napoleon would yell at him, I loved their whole dynamic because I hated Uncle Rico. And so every time Napoleon was like going after him, I was like, yeah, dude, get him. Get him.
See, you just didn't understand Uncle Rico.
I understand Uncle Rico perfectly fine. He's just a loser that never turned into anything. And so he's living in the past.
And in a pasture.
And he's scamming people. He's like, all right, Kip, I got an idea for us to make some money, right? And they're going to go around selling, first it's Tupperware.
Tupperware, yep.
Then it turns into breast enhancement.
Must.
And, next week it'll be something else,
Yep.
right? Yeah. Wasn't there another thing?
It's a small town. You go through your
He's
clientele.
Uncle Rico had a hustle, man. He had to hustle hard.
He was a good salesman, though. He was good at overcoming objections.
He was.
He's like, here's a free gift.
To a point.
Pulls out the sailboat.
Sailboat.
Fucking sailboat to sell some Tupperware.
I want the sailboat.
I want the
Sailboat. So if we buy the 24-piece set, we get the sailboat.
You get the sailboat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you do.
You know what, though? I was thinking about that. I could really use a 32-piece right now. I need some Tupperware.
Need the 30. You need the 32-piece.
32-piece set, yes.
I don't think that would have done. I think you could have tore that one. I know that guy he's like, give that a good tear, and he couldn't.
He's like,
Maybe. I mean, if I put my thumbs into it.
I love how he looked so embarrassed too that he couldn't tear it. He's just like,
Can't do it. Can't do it.
and then they cut to another scene and Kip's backing over one and it pops like.
Damn it! And he just drives away.
Yep.
That was good. That's what I'm saying. Is like there's individual moments that stand up and are very funny, and I'll acknowledge that the film is very quotable and
Very quotable.
and I'm the next day still thinking about things, but I haven't decided like as a whole, like it's less than the sum of its parts. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Math hurts.
Math hurts. There's some math for you. Do that. All right. Napoleon goes to Trisha's house to drop off the picture that he wants to ask her to the prom, and he drew this picture of her. And so I kind of like what you're talking about before. I was literally sitting there like, remember when people would just go to your house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even when they
drop
didn't know that you were coming?
Right. We just show up uninvited.
Like you didn't text and
You
say,
just
hey,
go
home?
there.
You just roll up.
Is this person home? Like
No,
all the time.
he's out playing.
Okay.
Go find him.
Imagine that. Oh my gosh, if my kids, like if they just went to somebody's house and they didn't know they were coming, I think their heads would explode.
Right.
911, what's your emergency?
Somebody came to my house and
So I didn't ask him.
and they said, am I home? And was I there? And did I want to hang out?
They're looking for my kid. There's this guy. He walked up to the door.
No, the teenager would be the one calling 911.
Right. Yeah.
To say somebody came
came to
over.
my house.
They want to talk to me in person. I told them to text me and they wouldn't leave.
And then they just answered the phones too.
This guy called me without texting first.
Seriously. It's like an act of aggression.
People suck now.
My daughter would be like, they're just calling me. Look, they're calling me.
Rude.
Like, okay, answer it. I'm like,
No, they didn't text first.
they didn't text me. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then here's Napoleon just like a mental case, just walking straight up to somebody's
up to the
house,
door.
knocking on a door without passing out and dying. Here.
Right.
And gives
Didn't
Uphill
call
both
first.
ways.
totally.
Didn't just rolled up. Didn't even call.
No.
Nothing. Just cold knock.
That's right. The old cold knock. He's a millennial too, which is surprising.
But he didn't have to ask if she lived there. So, I mean, he knew she
He
lived
knew
there.
she lived there.
Rico is in the house selling Trisha's mother Tupperware when this happens. And so Rico I thought at first blew Napoleon out of the water by being like, he's still a bedwetter.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he's blowing it. But it actually made the mom so sympathetic that she made Trisha say yes
She bought the 32-piece set.
to go to the you're taking that boy to the dance.
That boy, the dance.
Poor Trisha. But then, of course, Napoleon still yells at him when he gets, why don't you shut up and get out of my life? Gosh. Napoleon, again, he's so random because the next scene, Napoleon gets a job at this chicken farm.
Yeah. And then,
And then,
And then he needs a job because now he's going to dance.
it's not even the worst and then. The worst and then of the movie is when he's suddenly judging milk at a FFA event.
Well, it's part of FFA.
But they didn't set that up at all.
no, that's just random out of nowhere.
It was just now he's there.
Makes you
drinking
wonder what
milk.
got cut out.
The problem is I don't think anything did. I don't think anything got cut out. He's at this chicken farm. Okay, what does he ask him? Go. I know you want to do it.
Do the chickens have large talons?
I don't know what you're saying right now.
How about having his job? No.
That's the line.
Idahoan farmer Fran.
That's the line that Clint Bush. Anytime he brings up Napoleon Dynamite, that's the first thing. That's his go-to. These chickens have large talons.
Even when you're not talking about Napoleon Dynamite.
Right, all
He
the
just
time.
throws that in there.
randomly at work, I
want-
worked with a guy we were big fans, and
Yeah.
I'd randomly IM him sometimes. Just, do the chickens have large talons?
Oh, God.
See,
So this reminds me. Sorry.
don't apologize. I want you to talk.
No, I have to say sorry for this because this is like I'm a horrible person. So there's this guy that we used to. There was the soundboards that came out. We had a Napoleon Dynamite soundboard, so I kept calling my shop, and the manager who was working at the time, he was an older guy, and so it was always Napoleon calling, going, "Hello, is Pedro there?" And he's like, what? Who are you trying to reach?
Is Pedro there?
I don't know who you're trying to reach.
Do the chickens have large talons?
I caught you a delicious bass. So in the end, it turns out he had Alzheimer's, and I was
Oh my gosh,
I do remember who this person is.
that's hilarious.
yeah. So Tommy, I'm sorry,
Or
but
guarantee you
the chickens do have large talons.
They do. You weren't hallucinating. All right, so he Where was I? Sorry.
Moving chickens into the cages.
Oh, the chicken farm. Yeah. So when they start showing the rows of the chickens, I'm like, oh my gosh,
That's commercial farming.
this would be the worst place to work. I know some people have to do it.
My
Fine.
brother did it.
Good for them. I couldn't personally. I would last about 2 minutes, and I'd go, no. I mean, imagine what it smells like
Yeah,
in
the
there.
smell
Yeah.
is terrible.
Well, they have large dumpsters at the end of the row.
I bet.
That you pull all the dead ones out and you just throw them in the dumpster.
That's I bet.
Yeah, it was-
And all that crap's got to go somewhere too,
oh, yeah.
right?
Yep.
I just and the lunch. Can we talk about the lunch for a second?
I think that's one of the best jokes in the movie.
They got the four
perfectly
boys lined up. What?
Look at some
Drinking
Some-
eggs.
sandwiches. Egg Kool-Aid.
They're mixing it up, and they had to crack one and dump it in so that you knew it wasn't
No, it
orange
was
juice.
eggs, yeah.
Because it looked like it's just a big thing of orange juice.
Need one more egg.
But it was egg yolk. There's a big thing of egg yolk. There's a pile of sandwiches, and then raw or not hard-boiled eggs.
Hard-boiled eggs.
Right.
And that's their lunch.
So it's okay when Rocky eats it?
There's a difference. Well, first of all, no, it's gross when he does it too.
Imagine how long it was baking out in the sun too.
And he's trying to protein dump for his training, and he doesn't mix them up, and he just downs them. This guy, it looked like they just just for fun sit around and drink. Do farmers do this? Do they sit around and drink egg yolk?
I mean, it was
Maybe
the whole
in Idaho.
egg.
Can we get if you're an Idahoan farmer? Can you?
If
Well,
you
you're
were-
not
Right
gonna-
in.
If you work on a chicken farm,
Please tell me if
You
this
might
is
be entitled to compensation.
this is what you guys eat for lunch. If you just whisk up some eggs together and just drink it like it's OJ. There's flies landing on everything.
Everything.
that's what you call a rare omelet.
So gross.
It's an Idaho omelet.
Here's the other thing.
This
With
show
this
is
movie.
trash at gmail.com.
It really is. Here's the other thing. We're getting to the prom here now, right? And there's all this build up for the prom. And I'm like, oh, this prom scene is going to be hilarious. Nothing happens. Nothing remotely funny happens at the prom.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what prom is, though.
I know, but this is a
It's awkward. and-
comedy,
Yeah.
right? You build towards this scene.
Super predictable scene.
So, first of all, Napoleon's got to pick her up at X amount of time, but Rico's got to go make a Tupperware sale. So he rides with him. Rico's taking too long selling his Tupperware. I don't know what he's doing in there with
Grandma. He's
Grandma.
in there with grandma.
Okay. He's trying to close the deal in
He had
quotes.
to close the deal with the lonely grandma.
I don't know. Napoleon just starts booking it down the road where he's picked up by Pedro's cousins.
In the most awesome, was it a Bonneville? It's like
I don't know.
I think it was a Bonneville.
It's like one of those, like, they got the
Lowrider.
hydraulics on it.
Yeah.
And it looked like his cousins were gang members. I mean, that's the way they were portrayed, especially later on when they're the hired muscle for Pedro, which
Yep.
we'll get to.
Right.
But he gets picked up in this lowrider. These two guys drive him to pick up his girlfriend. His girlfriend, not his girlfriend, the girl he's taking to the dance. Trisha.
Right.
Dad, for a second's like, what the hell is that parked in my
driveway.
But she gets in. They take him to the prom. It's within 2 minutes of getting there, Trisha ditches him.
He went to the bathroom.
He goes in the bathroom to get himself like worked up, and nothing gets the testosterone flowing like some big league chew.
Big old wad of big league.
We know that.
Right in the stuff it right between the lip.
That's what you got to do. That
Lip and the gum.
That's
right
realistic.
there.
That checks out for sure. But then he goes back out. She's gone. Pedro and Deb dance. Then Napoleon dances with her. I like your sleeves. They're super big, or whatever he says.
They're super puffy.
Super puffy.
Yeah.
Thanks, I made them myself.
And that's it.
Scene.
Scene.
It was such a letdown. They built up to the prom for like half the movie.
I think we got it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
One shot.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
That's it. Okay, guys, we're good. On to the next
Got
thing.
it.
Yeah, that's a wrap on the
It's a
prom.
wrap on the prom. All right, fine. We get to the only other kind of plot in the movie, which is now, well, unless you want to talk about the time machine that Rico bought online
Oh, that was sweet.
in 2003 or 2004 when you bought things online.
Bought a time machine off the internet.
But there are all kinds of that kind of garbage floating around out there.
Don't mess with that, Uncle Rico's.
The instructions seemed foolproof. I don't know why he couldn't get it to work.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Right?
They were pretty clear.
It was really labeled very well.
Yes, the module was labeled.
Right. You basically, it's like this T-bar. with some electricity hooked up to it.
Handle headband on your head, the T-bar between the legs.
Put it right in your nuts and turn it on and zap the crap out of yourself.
Remember, don't forget the crystals.
That's right. Don't forget the crystals. That was the good kick on the
Put
joke.
the crystals in.
Crystals.
And
Uncle Rico limps in.
he's literally trying to go back in time.
So you're saying I shouldn't shop on AliExpress?
No,
That's probably where you can
Not
get
for
one
time
of those
machine.
today.
Oh,
You could probably buy a time machine as a prop from this movie if you wanted
probably.
to.
Right. Wish.com.
Wish.com. All right, so they
It's not a plug or anything.
do not go there.
sponsored by Wish. Oh,
Oh gosh, imagine if that was our sponsor.
we are like the Wish.com of podcasts.
That would be amazing.
The only sponsor we could get is Wish.com.
That's great.
If you do it, since
We'll do it.
Everyone has called us Wish.com. How did this get made?
Right.
Or that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
like,
call it out.
please do it. Please compare us to things we love. That's a compliment.
Keep doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So Pedro was really hot one day, so he shaves his head.
That'll happen.
That joke was they drove it into the ground.
Yeah, they tried to make it. It just wasn't funny at all.
No.
Yeah.
I thought it was hot, and then I realized it was my hair. Or
I was
whatever.
hot, and my hair, so I shaved it off.
And so they pick out a wig. I'm like, okay, why are we? It meant nothing ultimately to the outcome of the movie.
I wonder if that was just a cover for something like he got a haircut or something.
Actually had to cut.
Yeah.
hair.
Because he did a different part or something, maybe.
I've been in that boat, and I get it. Good on you for figuring out a way to cover it. But good Lord, make it entertaining. We get to the final plot of the movie, which is basically Pedro running for class president
Yes.
against Summer. Pedro they're handing out. Well, his campaign was a little bit different than Summer's. Summer was just using her popularity, basically, which is usually what these things
Handing
are.
out buttons.
Handing out buttons. Pedro's giving out.
Summer all year long.
Pedro's giving out friendship bracelets. They're putting their posters that Napoleon drew over
A-teamed
Summer's
it,
posters.
yeah,
the
the whole
A-team
A-team,
theme
yeah.
plays. They're putting it out there all over the place. I think the tide in the campaign started to turn though when remember how that nerd got beat up at his locker for some
Yes.
change?
Yep.
We talk about that bully for a second because that's
Yeah.
the same guy that shoves Napoleon into the locker,
Steals his
That
tots too.
It gives him a kick to the leg and the tots.
smashes his tots.
Yeah.
We talk. Oh yeah, the tots in his pocket.
Todd pocket.
Gross.
That was
Can I have your
so
tots?
gross. He just stuck him in his pants.
You don't do that?
Right.
You didn't
Well,
do
I
that?
don't like tater tots, and I know.
Right.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna get flamed for that, right? I like my potato products in fry form, if possible, or mashed potatoes, or a baked potato, or something. But tot, I don't know what it is. Just can't get into it.
You don't like cylindrical hash browns?
But I will say this: it's okay to like tots. All right. I know it's a big
There you
stance.
go.
It's a big stance we're taking here
No Todd hate.
on Bad Movies
We're
Rule.
going to get comments on that part.
It's okay to like tots.
James hates tots.
I
Gosh,
just wouldn't want grease stains in my pants.
honestly,
When they're lunchroom tots, so they're extra greasy.
Right.
I made them extra sloppy for you.
this bully walks up to
Random kid.
Yeah, the random kid, is it turtleneck shorts kid. I
Yeah.
don't like what doesn't have a name. Kids wearing turtlenecks and
Billy.
shorts. I actually like that they did that in this generation of kids. Like this was just before social media took off.
Yep.
We used to just wear what we had, and you didn't have to be freaking perfect because everyone had a camera in their pocket and Instagram ready at any time to take a shot, and like literally had to look great just to go into school. I'm sure there's kids nowadays that don't do that, but for the most part, like you just wore whatever.
Right. What's clean today?
Right.
Yeah.
And so turtleneck with a pair of shorts kid, I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I probably ended up having to do that at one point too.
Laundry day.
It was you wore what you had. Right? You didn't have to worry about somebody taking a freaking picture of you every second of the day.
That's right.
Remember the stuff we could
not-
get away with?
Yeah.
Well, there's that too.
Right.
You
Oh,
guys
God.
really missed out on that this generation. Sorry. I'm not trying to be old man yelling at the clouds here, okay? You guys have what you have, and that's cool. If we'd had Instagram back then, we would have been doing the same crap.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, but in this case, it brought me back a little bit to see this kid. What did he come up to him when he was at the locker? Because there's two interactions. There's the bike later, but the first he comes up to the locker to get money
He wants some lunch money or something.
to buy a drink or
Or
something.
milk money or something. Yeah.
Right. He's like, I don't have it. And the way he grabs his kid by the neck and he just is like pushing him
Push
up
him
and down.
Yep.
Like over and over and over and over again. That was crazy to me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it happens.
It was so specific. They didn't just have him punch him in the stomach or shove him into the locker.
that was-
it was just this weird, random, very specific,
Yeah, that was like the thing.
like
Just-
making him headbang, basically.
Right, yeah, right.
Until
And then he's
finally
like,
gave him
fine,
some
here, take the money.
Kind of wonder if it was like autobiographical.
Yeah, it
That's
could
what
have
made
been.
me think of that, right?
Could have been, yeah. And then Napoleon sees it. So, how's your neck? Stings.
Pedro offers you his protection.
Right. That's when the campaign turned. He
That
sees him
is.
outside getting him, like,
Like,
the next time he's got his bike, he's playing tug of war with the bully's trying to take his bike, and the two cousins of Pedro
roll
pull
up.
up with "Vote for Pedro" on the side of their ride.
hit the switches. Hit the switches. Lower it.
Yeah.
And he actually
He mugs him.
offered him his protection, and then things started to swing a little bit in their favor.
Did.
All right, now we get LaFonda coming to town. I'm totally baffled by this relationship, and I think that's hilarious
Right.
I think we all are.
because I just don't know what she sees in Kip.
Right.
We know she sees over him.
Nice.
She had to have brought those clothes with her, right? Where are you buying his new wardrobe in Idaho?
Oh, no, she absolutely brought
Okay,
those with.
the middle of this like farm hole Idaho.
Those were straight up from Detroit.
They had to have been. He's rocking a do rag. He's got all this new clothing. He's got
the big eagle
buys
chain.
the big eagle chain for him.
They didn't have that Farm and Fleet.
I'm thinking at Big R they didn't have.
I mean,
Wherever Summer worked, Ben Franklin or whatever it was, they didn't have it there.
Yes.
you know, you get your gold eagle chains at the Farm and Fleet. or wait, is that Fleet and Farm?
Fleet and
You could probably take your pick.
One of the
Take
other.
your pick.
I don't remember.
Take your pick.
Take your pick.
Yeah, and so she's
Tractor
kind of
Supply.
crafting Kip into the man she wants him to be, but he never will. And Napoleon is also shopping for some stuff. We see him at Goodwill. First of all, if I ever found a freaking sigh like that at a Goodwill, I would absolutely
That
buy
is
it.
amazing. Absolutely. Yes.
That's
$14.
That's getting bought.
if I found that at Farm and Fleet, I'd buy it.
He's like, what the hell? Right?
Stuffs it, puts it in his
Belt loop.
belt loop,
Oh, yeah.
Great find.
like his Raphael.
Great find. And then he ends up buying Daquan's
Daquan's dance cruise.
dance cruise. That's right.
Tell you what, he nailed it.
And he's trying to
you ready?
learn how to dance.
I love it. He's like, what was it? Daquan, so you ready to get down? He's just like, yes.
Yes, in the room behind the door.
Like talking back.
Yeah, I think is it because he danced with Deb that he suddenly wants to learn how to dance?
Maybe.
Because they never really see.
Never really see why he just.
Right
I think it was just like
It's just one of those random things I think in a movie.
gathering skills.
Right.
Yeah, he's
for girls.
I got dance skills.
Gotta level up.
My
He's leveling up.
nunchuck skills.
He's on a side mission,
Right.
right. Yeah, side quest.
side quest. All right, so the Uncle Rico continues to ruin things. He goes to get another headshot from Deb, right, who does these glamour shots or whatever, and he starts to kind of turn into a bit of a creep.
He did.
Yeah,
Well, even
right.
more of a creep. He was already a creep.
He passed out. He's got these bust Mustang. He passes them out to the teenage girls walking down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
creepy way.
Summer
Trish
and Trish.
Summer.
Yeah.
Then he's in this one-on-one session with Deb, and there's no one else there, and he starts to unbutton his vest, and I'm like, oh no.
Napoleon.
I thought that's where this was going. But he just pulls out a flyer to give her, be like, Napoleon said you could use
You could use
a
this.
bigger rack or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
right.
Right.
And so she's pissed and calls Napoleon and says,
From a payphone.
from a payphone,
From a payphone.
Right.
basically, we're done. We're through. We're not friends
Yeah.
anymore, right? You're shallow.
Your shallow friend.
Yeah.
And so now when Napoleon sees Rico, he's absolutely like, once you get out of here, you ruin my life. You eat all our steak.
Grandma called, said,
Grandma
time
called
for
so
you
you
to
need to go
leave.
home.
tired of you ruining everybody's lives and eating all our steak.
But he ends up, this is right after this where he ends up, because he's still, again, trying to sell his boob juice or whatever it
Yeah.
is he's trying to sell. It's
herbal.
Herbal
whatever.
enhancement. Herbal enhancers.
When he gets beat up by Rex Kwon Do. So the last kind of big scene of the movie is they play tetherball. Oh no, that's the last scene.
That's the last scene.
So really the last scene of the movie is the big campaign event.
Right.
Yes.
Where they're going to give, now, Summer's stump speech was terrible. Like just from a,
It was just awful.
Very selfish.
And
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, what class president has sway over like soda machines and chapstick in the bathroom and more cheerleader uniform?
New cheerleader.
None.
She's playing to her base or really her special
she's
interest
doing the
groups.
right politician thing. I mean, she's lying about all this stuff she's not ever going to deliver on.
Right, but I think she went too niche with it because how many people really care about new cheerleader uniforms?
Just the 12 people on the
the 12
cheerleader.
girls.
And just as her boyfriend.
Right.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah, and her 31-year-old boyfriend.
31-year-old boyfriend who's flunked 16 times is sitting there in the auditorium with her.
Just look at my grade 12.
Pedro doesn't realize that there's got to be a skit after his speech.
Yeah.
Summer and the Happy
like-
Hands group do their little dance to whatever song that was.
Yeah.
with the
That was
ASL.
Backstreet Boys or
Phone in.
something.
Backstreet Boy and the ASL, stuff, and they totally phoned it in.
Yeah.
So Pedro gets up and he gives his
He's
speech.
like, well, I guess I'll just tell him I have nothing to say.
He gets out there and he goes, "Vote for Pedro, and all of your wildest dreams will come true," which is what Napoleon told him to say.
Right.
Right.
Wonderful.
That is such a better speech than what Summer did. Right? I mean, he understands the politics. Big promises. Doesn't matter if you can come through on it.
I mean, he put a few other smaller things out there. Like,
Relatable stuff.
right. Like we'd want some, what do you say? The,
No more communal chapstick.
yeah, that no more.
Right. Stuff that the masses would. He played to the masses.
played to the masses.
This is why Pedro was successful from
Right.
a campaign strategy
And
standpoint.
then he said, all your wildest dreams will come true.
"That's right."
Right?
And then the lights go down. Napoleon had the idea to
comes out.
hand his tape, the Daquan's dance, or no, the tape from
From La Fonda.
LaFonda's
That's La
cousin
Fonda's
or whatever.
tape,
Yeah.
Gives it to the guy, and he turns it on, and you just get him dancing his ass off for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
To Jamiroquai.
It's
The Jamiroquai.
Yeah.
It's Jamiroquai.
Was that what it was?
It was.
Well, right in the movie, she said it was like a friend
cousin.
of her
Her cousin.
cousins or
Maybe
something.
her cousin must be
but it's
Maybe her
Jamiroquai.
cousin's Jamiroquai.
But man, oh man, absolutely hilarious.
From the other side of the family.
John Heater, all respect in the world.
He nailed
Yep.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Because he dancing like that in front of camera, in front of people in general, is very embarrassing, and you have to have total not care at all about and be self-aware enough to just be like, I'm just going to go for this.
He did.
Right.
He admits I stole half of that from John Travolta, Michael Jackson. He was like listing up. I don't care. When you got to do a scene like this, you pull from whatever you got to pull from.
Right.
It doesn't matter because Napoleon probably would have done the same thing anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just totally works.
Full
Absolutely hysterical.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's film of him somewhere doing the Carlton.
Oh, sure.
Just as a goof.
Apparently, they've only got 10 minutes of footage.
Really?
So it was the last thing they shot.
Wow.
And they shot for 10 minutes and ran out of film and couldn't afford to buy any more.
Okay.
So all of that came from the 10 minutes they shot of him dancing.
Awesome.
good
That's
job. Awesome.
Hey,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He got one crack at it. So good job to John. Dude, we got 10 minutes of reel here. Go.
send it.
Send it.
We'll cut it. We'll cut it together, whatever we need.
It's awesome. And so, yeah, then the place goes absolutely bonkers. Standing ovation.
Except for Don and Summer.
Nope.
Yeah.
Pedro becomes the president. We know because we see a family party where it says Presidente. I wanted them to have the summer pinata. No, we skipped over that, but he got in
skipped over
trouble
the
for
summer.
one of his campaign events was having people beat up a pinata that looked like summer. He's like, I don't understand. We do it all the time in Mexico. It's great. But they should have had one at the party, too, I felt like. This should have been
they
a summer
should have.
pinata.
Here in Idaho, we have more self-respect, Paige.
But they probably didn't have money to make another summer pinata, which is fine. Kip leaves town. He packs his 2 suitcases, gets back on a bus with
He's
LaFonda.
doing like the arm thing,
At the bus stop.
LaFonda's trying to coach him. And
Peace out.
peace.
Napoleon goes back to school, plays tetherball with Deb. They have a little moment of connection.
Said I caught you a delicious bass. That's another pickup line, fellas, that works.
That's right.
Chef's kiss.
If you don't know what to do for a girl, just catch her a fish.
Catch her a fish.
She'll love it, especially if she's from
All is
Wisconsin.
delicious.
What is it? Catch a woman a fish and she eats for a day, teach her how to fish, and who cares?
Yeah.
And, yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah.
You'll be lonely.
Yeah.
And
Farmers only?
that's the end of the movie. I'm not kidding around. The movie just ends,
Yeah.
and that's it.
That was it.
And then we get the credits, and then we get this scene after the credits of Kip's wedding, which is actually really long for a post-credit
Right.
scene.
I literally have never seen this post-credit scene.
No?
No,
I
you
didn't
still
know it
didn't?
existed.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole
yeah.
wedding. LaFonda and Kip get married in the post
He
credits.
sings a song too.
He sings a song to her,
I love technology.
but not as much as
You and me. But I still love her
Okay.
forever.
Did you guys get together ahead of time and
No.
like, make this up?
No, it's there.
I have never seen this on the internet or anything.
Napoleon rides up on a horse.
Yes.
Okay. During the ceremony, you think he didn't
I am
show.
looking forward to this.
Okay, I will show you after.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
We'll show it to you right after we're done with this. It's better than anything in the entire movie.
It is great.
It's the best scene, and they stuck it after the credits.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I feel like I've missed out for the last X amount of years.
I don't want to say it's
You
like
definitely have.
5 minutes, is
least,
probably
yeah.
at least
At
for
least.
a post-credit scene.
It is the climax of the movie.
It's wonderful, and it doesn't make any sense to me why they would put it at the end, and you just proved it. I didn't see it the first time either. I watched it. I
Right.
just saw it because I'm watching it with him, and he's like, "Hold on, best scene's coming up."
It's
Right?
a gift.
I didn't
So,
have that ever.
there's how many other people out there have just never
And
seen
you
this?
know why I watched through all the credits now? Because I learned after I saw The Great Outdoors, like I never knew there was that post-credit scene in Great Outdoors for years
Right.
and years, and then all of a sudden I'm like,
It's with the raccoons, right?
Yes.
yeah, with the raccoons,
yes.
yeah. I'm like, okay, I am watching every movie through the credits now
sure.
to see what's there, but
And they apparently came and shot that after the movie had already premiered. It wasn't on when it originally
Yeah, it
released.
Okay.
They had the premiere or whatever. They went and shot that quick, threw it on the end of the movie. That
LaFonda's
scene
brothers.
cost almost half as much as what they spent on the entire film
yeah.
to do that scene.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But they had the money then at that point.
Right.
Movie made $40 million.
Oh my gosh. The movie's over.
The
Thank
reaction
God.
of LaFonda's brother, though.
Now we can get into the nitty gritty here. This is where I'm going to have a lot to say. It's time to give this movie some awards. Gosh. I'll give awards to whoever I want to, okay? God.
Oh, sweet.
All right. We start off as we always do
got
with
your own
the Will
podcast?
Patton Award for intensity.
You want a war? I'll give you a war!
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night! And if they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm gonna take every last one of you out. You make sure
They remember forever the night they played the Titans.
That's right. Will Patton, and here he is, ready to stare you down because he's so intense. And we give out a name in his We give out an award in his name, in his honor, for the actor in the film that gave the most intense performance, regardless of how stupid the movie was. So we'll start with you, Mr. Mayor, aka Napoleon. Who is your nominee for the Will Patton Award for intensity?
Rex Kwando. Dietrich Bader.
Dietrich Bader.
He was probably the most intense one in the whole movie because everything else is pretty laid back, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's even shady Uncle Rico is still kind of laid back, right? I think, but
Yeah.
Dietrich Bader his character was probably the most intense one in the movie.
All right, fair enough. Mel, who you got?
I got Dietrich Bader as well.
Dietrich
All
Bader.
right.
Okay, I'm surprised. I actually went with John Heder for this. I just felt
Not
like
a bad pick too.
the funniest moments to me for him were when, first of all, he was so dialed in, and he was so serious. Like when he was saying these like ridiculous things, like shooting Wolverines with a 12 gauge. That the best parts were when he was really angry, and angry isn't always intensity, aren't always the same thing. For him, those moments were awesome. That's why I went with him. Brady, who you got?
I was going to go with Rex Kwando as well.
Dietrich Bader, 3 out of 4.
I would say that if Grandma had more scenes, I would have gone with her.
Yeah,
But she
right.
just
She's
didn't
just
have
in-
enough screen time.
She was great
She's
too.
in one, and then she's flying off a ATV.
She was a Mountain Dew commercial.
Yeah, right. right.
All right, so we got 2 patrons playing. Well, not even 2.5, 3 by way of 2. I'll explain that in a second. But
Who do we have today?
We've got JP Dozier is
Johnny
back.
Dozier.
That's right. He's back in. And he
right.
also went with Dietrich Bader for his. He said he was freaking Rex Kwando. Bow to your sensei.
Bow to your sensei.
Bow to your sensei.
And so he sends me this message when he gives me his award submissions from Patreon. He goes, look, my wife was super excited for this because it's her favorite movie. And so I don't know if you'll allow this, but my wife is also submitting an award. She's not a patron, but because we only had 2 today, and sometimes we have as many as 3. April, John Paul's wife, her awards are also included.
All right.
And so April went with
As a mayor, I'll allow it.
John Heater. So that's 4 for Dietrich, 2 for John.
4 on 2.
And that means that we come to Rebecca. Now, Rebecca is our other patron that's writing in today, and this is her second time submitting awards. She also went with Dietrich Bader. So ultimately, Dietrich's going to take home the Will Patton Award for Intensity. So give it up for him. Great dude. Again, underused.
Oh, I think so. Absolutely. Break the wrist.
Underused.
But he nailed it.
No, he was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Nothing bad
great
to say.
in every scene he was in.
I mean, good Lord. Even a movie like Office Space,
Oh, I
where
love
it's
it.
just like a
Lawrence in
one-scene
Office
character,
Space.
basically.
Oh.
They figured
He was
out a couple
underused in
times
that one, too.
to pull him back in, at least at the very end, when he's like, look out for your cornhole, buddy, or don't worry, man, I won't say nothing either. Right? Like, they just figured out a few times to get him back in there.
The Arnold version of that. Just amazing.
Oh, the 2 chicks at the same time?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, love that guy.
All right, the next movie.
The next movie.
All right, the next award we give out is the Michael Dudikoff Trash Can Full of Dirt Award. The award we give out to the actor who had the acting range of a trash can full of dirt, a.k.a. the worst actor in the movie. Not an award you'd like to win, but lots have.
No, lots
103 of them at this point.
So far.
How about for you? Who's your nomination for the trash can?
Oh, boy. I think I had to think about this one for a little bit because there's some possibilities here. I was thinking Don. I was thinking, a couple other, the bully kid that was, doing the neck thing. But I think ultimately I'm going with Haley Duff on this one.
Haley Duff as Summer.
As Summer.
All right, man. That's not. I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah.
She wasn't great.
No, wasn't great at all.
And I actually went with Trevor Snar as Don, Summer's boyfriend.
Yep.
Who was terrible.
He was terrible.
Terrible.
He's just terrible, man. Just terrible.
That's picking up when you're messing with the cord.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead, Mel. Who you got?
Don gets my Tom Arnold Award.
There you go. Tom Arnold.
And I'm going to continue calling it the Tom Arnold Trash Can of Dirt until it is officially changed.
You can do what you like.
I make this motion.
Okay.
Motion denied. Brady.
Okay.
Gosh.
Because we don't give it to children anymore, I'm not going to give it to the kid on the bus at the beginning of the movie. But I am going to go with the. It wasn't Don. It was the other bully, the guy that kicks the neck thing.
Yeah, the neck guy thing.
Yeah.
The Tots guy as well.
Tots guy.
Tots guy.
Yeah, not good.
No, he's not good at all. And that's not a bad vote at all. Let's go to our patrons. JP went with, and he called it the Tom Arnold dumpster fire filled with dirt. And I know Mel is going to love that name.
I love it.
And he went also with Trevor Snar as Don. He was just a pointless character as the boyfriend. When he asked his wife, April, who was bad in this movie, she said no. So she refuses to vote for that. So no vote from April on that one. And Rebecca went with Ellen Dubbin as Eileen.
Eileen, yes.
And I couldn't remember who the frick that is. Who's Eileen in this movie?
I'm looking now.
Oh, right. Like, so at the end of the movie, there's a thing with Uncle Rico, and he's out in the field, and this woman approaches him, and I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
where does she come in?
Is that her?
I don't remember.
I thought that's like his ex-girlfriend, but I thought her name was like Teresa or something.
Well, I don't know if that's who we're talking about here.
Yes.
I just remember this woman's approaching him.
Right.
Who is that?
Right.
Do you know this movie front to back? Do you know who Eileen is?
It's not coming up.
Could you show him a picture?
I just
Yeah, maybe. If you got a picture.
Yeah, it's right there.
yeah, I'm trying to get it bigger. Oh, come on. Gosh.
It's like one of the friends, one of the popular girls, maybe.
It's not Trisha.
It's like the third popular girl number three.
Yeah, it might be like the unnamed popular girl on the Happy Hands Club or something.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
no idea.
That's
Weird.
But they didn't have a
cool.
speaking part.
Regardless,
Great.
Trevor Snar as Don is going to win. So congratulations, Don, with 3 votes. He takes home the coveted trash can filled with dirt. What an honor for you, sir. All right, now we can talk about, this is totally divorced from quality. It's totally subjective. Our top 3 performances, even if they were bad, just the 3 that you enjoyed the most. Who were your 3 favorite performances?
All right, I've got a couple honorables. Grandma
Okay.
and Uncle Rico.
It didn't crack the top 3.
Didn't crack the top 3. Because my top 3 are Deb Tina Margarino, Pedro, and John Heder at 1.
All right, he went chalk, but he's not wrong. Right across the board, the main characters basically.
Yep.
They were great, fantastic. Who you got, Mel?
You know, I really want to put Rex in there in my top
did
Then
three.
do it. You
Yeah.
can.
But
You have the power
I mean,
to do so.
I gotta go Uncle Rico for number 3.
Okay.
I gotta go. I'll go Rex number 2,
Okay.
There you go.
and I gotta give it to John Heder.
Yeah.
John Heder, number 1. All right, Brady, who you got? It's your top 3.
I'm going 3, 2, 1 here.
Yep.
Let's do Uncle Rico. For number 2, I kind of want to do both Pedro and Kip, but I don't know which one I'm gonna slot in there. I don't remember their actual names, so
That's okay. You don't have to.
I thank you.
I don't either.
But then John Heder obviously is number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't work without him.
No.
Not at all.
For many reasons.
The whole thing is a vehicle for this character because they saw him in this short and like, that guy's hilarious. Let's make a whole movie with him.
Oh my God,
I know. Look, he looks like
John
he's
looks
70
like a
now.
villain now.
Yeah.
He looks like he's 70 now.
He looks like Wish.com Breaking Bad. Yeah.
All right, my top 3 went with Tina Majorino at number 3. I had Uncle Rico at number 2.
Nice.
And then John Heder at number 1.
Yeah.
And it's kind of similar across the board. There's a couple of surprises here. JP Dozier, I've got a bone to pick with.
Uh-oh.
He went Tina Majorino, number 3, same as me. Liked her character, he said, and thought she did an amazing job. I agree with you.
Yep.
Looked like the only teenager in the actual movie.
Yep.
Number 2 went with Aaron Ruel as Kip. I still quote him or talk like him at random times for fun. And number 1, he went with Efren Ramirez as Pedro. I would have had John Grease up there as Rico, even though he's great and quotable. He became a creeper at the end. Like John Heder didn't even make your honorable mention.
Right.
How do you not have John in your top 3?
Come on, JP.
Let's go, man. You're like, when I started to read this, I would have had, I thought it was going to say John Heder, but no, John Grease.
That's the wrong
There's
John.
not even an explanation about why he's
No, he didn't. He just didn't even speak to it. So please, I need a follow-up email from you, JP. We'll do it on a mailbag.
Yeah, we
we'll
definitely
give him
do.
the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
on that
As I'm going to allow you a chance to explain yourself.
I'm going to maybe
After I just
say
said this is
you
subjective.
misspelled Heater, there under your honorable mentions.
I just said it's subjective, and then I'm like, why'd you do that? But still, I want explanations.
I think the follow up is actually required in this
is.
case.
I think so.
It is subjective, except John Heder needs to be in there. April, his wife, went in with Tina at number 3, John at number 2. You see how easy that is, JP?
See.
And then Efren at number 1. So they both had Pedro in their number 1 spot.
So, yeah, April just had him flipped from mine.
Yeah, for sure. Rebecca went with Dietrich Bader at number 3, Aaron Ruel at 2, and again, John Heder at number 1. So appreciate everybody putting in your top 3.
So it's subjective, but obviously JP was wrong.
Yes, clearly.
Yes,
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
at
obvious.
least a couple got it right.
Somewhere.
Right.
And
Somewhere
the
along
Wife got
the
it
line.
right.
All right, so I know you brought up earlier about how Arnold could slot into this movie as the guy that kills the cow in From, but I had what if Arnold was the guy that just beat up people for their lunch money?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody already looked like they were 40 years old, right? So like,
Yeah.
wouldn't
Right.
it
It
matter?
wouldn't have mattered.
It
Yeah.
would have been amazing to have them swing around like children.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, get over here. I want your lunch money so I can buy a drink.
It's like Kindergarten Cop went crazy.
I remember he had that line in Running Man where he was walking through the airport with that lady. He's like, "Remember, I can snap your neck like a chicken," right?
Yeah, right.
And he
Yeah,
just
right.
does the same line with the kid that he's doing the up
Again
and
with
down
the animals.
With the animals, same thing, right?
See, I would have
right.
loved to see him as Uncle Rico.
Yeah.
That's what Dozier said too. He said he should play Uncle Rico or have him play the bully. He said actually, but yeah, Uncle Rico would be great, especially if he had the same hairdo.
Right. Right. Or what if he was
imagine?
Napoleon? What if Arnold was Napoleon?
Arnold chucking a steak. Somebody in the face.
And Heater just flies off of his.
I can't do the voice, but nice to meet you.
That's right. Nice to meet you. Listen, I bet I could throw it over those mountains. I believe he could, though.
He could. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He could.
Right?
Absolutely. Arnold could.
I would buy anything. You want the 24-piece set? Yes. You don't have to show me the boat or anything.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, man. I'll buy them all.
You can't break it, but I can.
That's right.
Do you get a
This is how you
48-piece
dare it.
set?
Listen to me very carefully. You got you got a fantastic body, but you need some bigger boobies. Okay? Yeah. Take this. Now, do it. I mean, dude, it would have been a totally different movie.
It worked. Absolutely, it worked.
Amazing. Yeah. So I think it's pretty clear that, yes, he would have made it better. All right. Ultimately, guys, here we go.
All right.
We have to land somewhere. We have to make a final determination.
Here we go.
By all metrics, it's a good movie, according to the numbers, audiences, critics. But now we get to have our say. Is this a good movie straight up? Doesn't belong on the show. It's just good. Is it a bad movie? Full stop. No qualifiers. It's just bad, no redeeming qualities. Or is it, a bad movie, but I enjoyed it, aka a bad movie that rules? I think I know where you land on this, Ryan. Okay, but
You do.
you're gonna have
I got to
just,
put it on the scale, though.
for posterity's sake.
Yes,
You've got to put
and
it
it's
up.
got to be put on the scale.
It's got to go on the
It's
scale.
got to go on the scale. So this movie is the dog bypasses the backyard, goes to the woods behind the house and shits there so you don't have to pick it up. Comes out of the woods and brings you the newspaper. It is that good. Good movie. That is awesome.
Good movie that is
And
awesome.
period. Full stop.
All right, I respect it. I respect it, man. Mel.
This is a bad movie that rules.
Okay, how'd you get there?
So I quote this movie every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Wow.
I can sit there, I can watch this movie, I can watch it in parts, but objectively and subjectively, it is not a good movie.
Okay.
It doesn't flow. I mean, it's enjoyable. I enjoy the ever-loving hell out of it, but it's not a good movie.
I respect that. Brady, where do you land on this one?
I'm with Mel. When I found out I had to watch this movie, I was kind of disappointed. I mean, there's a lot about this movie to love, especially, when you're watching it, just it makes you remember what high school was like and just the awkwardness and whatnot. And that's where the charm comes in this movie. And that's why people love it.
Yeah.
It's super ultra mega quotable. Like
Yes.
almost everything in there is quotable. However, objectively, it's a very, writing wise, terrible movie. Except for, the dialogue, right? But is that the actors or is that the writing? I have no idea. Or that could be the directing and the writing, right?
Yeah, could be.
It's just not, as far as a movie, it's just not good.
Yeah.
Would I watch it again by myself? No. Would I watch it again in a room full of people? Yes.
Okay.
I have a hard time saying it rules, but I guess that's where we're going to qualify it, that it is a bad movie that rules.
Yeah.
You could use the Clint Bush 16-point scale.
You could.
He has a hard time with it. We only use the word rules because it's the name of the show. I know that, but rules has a connotation to it, right?
Right. We have 3 options, and I'm sticking with one of them.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I get what you're saying. All right. Look, regardless of what anybody said here, okay, I want to preface this before people get angry. It's okay to like what you like, okay? What I think should not take away your own enjoyment from it, okay?
Here comes the hate mail.
If you like it, like it. Like the thing you like. Let people like what they like. You like it?
I like it.
Great.
Yeah.
You kind of like it? Cool. Napoleon Dynamite is not a good movie. I know people love it. It's beloved. People quote it every single day, like you said.
Yep.
And I know you quote it all the time.
All the time.
Okay? That's great. The movie is infinitely quotable, as Brady said. Okay? But that's not enough to make something a good movie. This movie, a bus crash is more entertaining to me than watching Napoleon Dynamite. Okay? And they're kind of actually very similar. You watch a bus crash or a train wreck or whatever you want to say because you can't look away from it. You're like, okay, what's going to happen next? All right, geez, that's super awkward. But at least the bus or the train were going somewhere before the crash happened, okay? This movie goes nowhere. It doesn't, and so it's just an individual collection of scenes. It doesn't go anywhere. It's not a movie. It's not it's a movie because it's a moving image over, whatever. It's not a story. Maybe that's a better way to say it. There's no arc. No one changes. Maybe
Stuff happens.
Stuff happens.
Yeah.
Right? So objectively, it's not a good story. It's not a good movie. That said, I laughed. It's funny. Individually, pieces of it stand on its own, right? So I'm going to say bad movie that rules, simply to give it credit for its quotability, its occasionally likable lead, its hilarious individual scenes, right? But I can't say it's a good movie. That's it.
See,
Make
you
sense?
put it more eloquently than I did.
No, I think we're all kind of in the same place.
Yeah.
I tried, and I guess the reason I'm a little bit worked up is because I'm preemptively like preparing for what's going to come back from
what's
this.
coming.
You know what I mean? But so I'm really trying to defend my position.
Keep Napoleon Dynamite out of your mouth.
That's right.
If we got it for Solar Babies, you know you're getting it for Napoleon Dynamite.
And because I'm a masochist, I'll put this clip out specifically of us talking about how bad it is. Right? But I really tried, guys. Just know I tried. I tried so hard. I sat down. I really wanted it. I said, I think maybe I was in the wrong frame of mind. I was hate watching it because I didn't want to watch it the first time. And now, 15 years later, maybe I'll have a better appreciation for what I really wanted to. I wanted to like it. I gave it every chance. And I did like it in a way. But that's it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's a bad movie. That rules. Were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, yep. No.
All right, let's see what the patrons had to say. JP said, good movie that's good. Not a shocker there. The casting was perfect for the characters they played. No argument.
No.
And it was just something really simple with a great story.
Oh,
What?
sorry, JP.
Yeah, no. Sorry. I can't agree with that.
I love you, buddy. You know I love you, buddy. And there's lots of this stuff that's great in this movie. Story is not one of them. But I respect your take. Again, like what you like. April, good movie. When I asked her this, she just stared at me and said, "Why are you asking me this?" Yeah. No, look, I get it. It's subjective, and I think it's sometimes hard for people to separate the objectivity and the subjectivity, and you watch something and go, I really like that. It's a good movie because I really liked it, right? So I totally get it. I understand. Rebecca said, bad movie that rules. She has some questions. Lyle is taking care of the steaks, but he shoots a dairy cow. Thank you. How old was Don? 30? The music when Napoleon rides up on the horse is almost identical to the Man from Snowy River. Did you guys ever see the Man from Snowy River?
No.
Oh,
No.
my gosh. My grandma used to make me watch it when I'd go over to her house.
No.
Oh, you guys got to catch the Man from Snowy River.
Is that same as Moon River?
No.
Do that next week. Or?
No, we're not. That's a good movie. That's good. What are you talking about? That's never going to be on the show.
All I know is it's about a man from Snowy River. That's all I know about it.
Look, guys, I'm sure this is going to be controversial, and JP might be mad, and I'm sure other people out there might be mad. But, that's the beautiful thing about movies is you get enough people in the room, you're going to have that many different opinions about how something is. Yep. And hopefully we gave enough props to the parts that actually were good that it's assuaged some of your anger about where we ultimately landed on this thing.
Yeah, the fact that it's even on this show.
Yeah, people are going to be mad just about that.
Exactly.
Right.
But no, it belonged to be right where it is. I don't know how on earth it's rated as highly as it is across the board. Maybe from audience. I don't know how the critics didn't see through what was happening there.
You know, this is a perfect film for this show.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad you finished that sentence.
Yeah.
I was like, for a second, I was like, what?
No,
Yeah.
this is a perfect film for this show because some people like it, some people don't. It's not very good, but it's great
At the same time.
at the same time.
Yeah, I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
for sure. Next week, we've got another comedy on the block. And this is one that I'm interested to go back to because I don't know if it's aged as well as some other movies. We're going back into the Jim Carrey filmography, and we're talking about 1999's Me, Myself, and Irene, the movie where he played two characters in one. It's about a guy, a Rhode Island state trooper, who has advanced delusionary schizophrenia with involuntary narcissistic rage.
That'll happen.
Nice.
Right? And Robert Forster's in that movie, Renee Zellweger,
Yep.
Jim Carrey, but the big, I don't want to bury the lead here, Daniel Green from Hands of Steel.
Hands of Steel
coming
is in
back
the movie.
as Dickie Thurman in Me, Myself,
He
and
is
Irene.
Dickie.
He is Dickie.
That's right.
It's the Hands of Steel guy. That's why we're doing the movie. We had to get, we got to get another Daniel Green in
We
here.
need Daniel Green.
ASAP.
More Daniel Green.
Still haven't seen that one.
Hands of Steel is one of my favorite movies that we've done.
Okay, well, I guess I got to see it now.
It's so great.
Ridiculous. But in a good way.
I
mean,
would
it was
watch Hands of Steel
enjoyable.
16 times in a row before I watch Napoleon Dynamite again.
If you can get through the first 10 minutes of it, it's amazing.
Yeah.
All right,
No, not
fair enough.
Mummer Man. We're talking about Hands of
Oh,
Steel.
that's right.
That one too, though.
That one too. Get through the first 10 minutes. Yeah, for sure. So join us next week if you want to watch. In the meantime, if you want to watch Me, Myself, and Irene, I'm sure it's out there for you to find. But if you don't want to watch it, just come in anyway. We'll walk you through the movie scene by scene. It'll be a little easier than it was with this one because there's a story that unfolds. It's going to be like an oasis in the desert compared to this. So can't wait. Get your watermelons ready, and we will see you next week for Me, Myself, and Irene. In the meantime, on behalf of Brady Cox, the mayor, Ryan Mueller, and Mel Vandy, I'm James Hauser. Thank you for listening. He's got some tots. He's got a lot, yeah. He puts them in his pants and smashes them.
Come on, Tina, get your ham now.
Pedro offers you protection.
Protection, protection.
Oh, make the train wreck stop.
I'll make it go as long as I want to. God, idiot.